So this is my way of sneaking in an extra one of my photos. This is a large group of Calypso orchids that we saw on the field trip to Mueller State Park last year. We saw probably 20 or 30 of these groups and we counted over 350 Calypso orchids in about 100 square feet or so. It was a good time. Okay. So tonight we have slides from 15 different people. They contributed over 70 photos. We're going to show 72 of them tonight. We have photos from mountain locations like Mount Sherman, Pikes Peak, Quattro Peak, Trail Ridge Road, and from prairie locations like from Bent, Otero, and Custer counties. And there are even several photos from members' backyards. We'll show the photos in the orders I received them. Basically, that was the easiest way to organize them. And I didn't do any editing except when there was a need to crop a photo to better emphasize the subject wildflower. Okay, so the first person who sent in some flowers was David Rudin. He was very good. He got in his contribution shortly after the Red Rock Canyon open space field trip in early August. The first photo here is from Red Rock Canyon. It's a number of longhorn bees on a prairie sunflower, Helianthus petiolaris. And I won't probably spend much time on the scientific names unless someone wants to go over them. That same day, we saw a curly cup gumweed, and this had a blister beetle on it. And then Dave sent in this penstemon virgatus with the pollen wasp burying his head in the flower. Okay. If anyone has questions or comments, please jump in as we go along.
Hey, Kurt, can you hear me?
Yes.
I just to mention that those pollen wasps actually spent the night and were sleeping in those penstemons when I came across them.
Right. Yeah, I think I forgot to mention that. So, but yeah, these bees had been there overnight, and this flower still happened to be in the shadows when we started out on the field trip. So, okay. Barb Valente sent us some photos from North Cheyenne Canyon. We have mountain candytuft, starflower lily of the valley, or false Solomon seal, depending on what you want to call it, what name you want to use. This one has not produced flowers yet. They're just in bud. A very nice photo of common alum root, the yellow flowers that you can see. And then golden banner. And this is the sort of lower elevation version for the rhombifolia. Okay. And Tom Green had photos from Quattro Peak. This was set up to be a CoNPS field trip, but we didn't have any CoNPS members who wanted to go. So Tom was able to coerce a couple of his friends into going up and doing a fairly strenuous hike up Quattro Peak, where he found these Whipple's penstemons, which are very light purple colored. Most of the time, the Whipple's is either the deep purple or white. So I don't know whether these are a combination of the purple and white or not, but they're lighter than you usually see. One of the prime reasons for going up there on Quattro Creek, Tom wanted to see the Calabria thistle, which is endemic to that area. And then he found another penstemon bleakii, Leakey's beard tongue. Beard tongue and penstemon are interchangeable. And then another unusual flower, the Colorado wagwort. And then one more example of the penstemon, the thistle. You can see this is a rather craggy area, lots of loose rock, not a lot of soil, but the thistle seemed to like it up there.
Kurt, may I ask you and Tom about, like, roughly what's the elevation?
Tom, do you have an answer for that?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, Tom.
Yes.
Okay, yeah, the elevation of Quattro is about the peak is about 13,800 feet. The timberline where you start seeing the Calabria thistle and Bleakley's penstemon is, timberline on the east face, which is where you approach, is about, I would say, 11,500 to maybe
Okay.
12,000. Yeah, and the Bleakley's penstemon is a critically endangered endemic. It's got an extremely narrow range so that was a very exciting plant, and it made the trip worthwhile just to see that.
A critically endangered plant. Wow. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah, easier hikes in that area where you can see Bleakley's would be Trinchera Peak or Maxwell Peak. Both of those you can approach a little bit higher in elevation, and there's trails to get to the Alpine. So if anybody's interested, we could always go back and stomp around.
Thank you, Tom. Okay, and so we go from the high mountains out to the eastern prairies, and Sue Kiefer sent us some pictures of tree cholla from Otero County. An interesting close-up of buffalo grass,
Wow.
and this is from Bent County. Shooting stars, in case some of you are worried that there's no water out there. She happened to catch a really nice, I think this is a fly trying to land on the shooting star. That looks like there's another one already there. This one is from Custer County. And then we have one, this is one that Sue had it as Old Man's Whiskers or Prairie Smoke. However, I think this is Purple Avens. This is one that I saw for the first time this summer, and it's pretty distinctly different from Prairie Smoke.
That's so cool. And Kurt, Sue Kiefer is, I think, our chapter's only member from Lamar, pardon me. She lives in Los Animas, but she is one of the major movers and shakers behind the High Plains Snow Goose Festival. Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
And she's contributed photos the last 2 years.
That's
So
great.
it's nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we have Yellowstone crop, a fairly common one. Some nice pictures from Sue. Next up is Virginia Phillips. Her pictures are from Colorado Springs. I think they're from from people's gardens and from some of the wilder areas within Colorado Springs. But a very nice Indian blanket flower. And again, nice dotted gay feather, dotted blazing star, whatever you want to call it. And some fringe sage. This is one that I did crop to emphasize the sage. And then the whole leaf Indian paintbrush, Castellea integra, with a penstemon there. It's part of it, but the paintbrush. This is the most common one that you see throughout Colorado Springs, the Indian paintbrush. And chokecherry. this last year was a pretty good year for choke cherries.
So, Kurt, would you indulge a small tangent here?
Sure.
When several of us were together at the CoNPS office over there on Boulder in Colorado Springs for a little social gathering at the new year, I had a chance to talk to Virginia, who is pretty interested in some of her fellow CONUP Southeast chapter members coming and helping her identify some plants ahead of the Horticultural Art Society garden tour. Is this all making sense to you guys?
Yeah.
Okay. So I don't think Virginia's on the call tonight, but are you, and I'm just too ignorant to know if you have each other's contact information. If Virginia set up a time with individual volunteers to come to her place and take a look, would anybody be interested in that?
Sure. I would come.
That's great. Okay. I'll reach out to Virginia and see how she wants to manage the logistics of that.
Probably have to do it like whenever I find out when the garden tour is and do it like a few days before so that everything is in flower at that time.
I see what you're saying. Okay, Kurt.
I
Okay,
can do some things based on the plant, but not everything.
right. No, I hear you. Yeah. All right.
And since we interrupted you, Kurt, there's messages in the chat. Pam is also interested. And Luis, do you want to talk about the Fox tour? And also, we didn't introduce Laurel, our co-chair for the Southeast chapter. Hello, Laurel.
Hi y'all. Sorry I was a bit late on that, but happy to be here. Hope y'all are doing good.
Luis, you want to tell us about Fox at the end?
Sure. I'm not a member of the Fox group, but it's Friends of the Extension Service here in Colorado Springs that does the annual tour. And I didn't know Virginia was going to be on it, but she has a very interesting backyard. And
Yeah.
I think it's at the end of June, I think.
Yeah, this is Pat Shepherdson. And yeah, the garden tour is June 28th and 29th.
Okay, good to know.
And it's in the Old Farm area and Briargate. And they're actually, it's kind of homesteading and native plants are featured.
Good. Very helpful.
Hey Pat, send us your web link once you have it, and we'll put it in our calendar.
Okay.
Are we ready to continue?
Yes, sir, you have the floor, and thank you.
Okay. Gabriella Rosetta Harris sent us some pictures from Colorado Springs, not from South America, or from places around Colorado, not South America. For those of you who came to our South America show. We have some tall chiming bells. This is from, her pictures are from Sandstone Ranch, which is, I think she must have gone there for a native plant master program. We did do a field trip up there, but she wasn't on that field trip and went there at a different time. So we have tall chiming bells, the Mertensia ciliata, a really nice lance leaf figwort, the little orange flowers. spotted coral root. These are all in the end of May. So you're getting early season flowers. And this is prairie smoke or old man's whiskers. And I think you can see that it's quite different from the purple avens that we saw earlier. And then a nice Colorado columbine or a blue columbine, depending on where you want it. I use it, Colorado columbine. And digraski.
These are
Pictures from-
all, Kurt, just a quickie introduction, because did I already tell you where they came from? I'm sorry.
I have where they came from on my notes.
Awesome. You go, boy.
Okay, we have Plains Blackfoot or Blackfoot Daisy. This is from Tunnel Drive in Canyon City. It's one of those things that if you go there at the right time, you'll see this all along the Tunnel Drive trail and in great bunches. A nice Gunnison Mariposa lily. This is from Park County. And in the middle of July. So here we have the other end of the false Solomon seal or star lily of the valley. This plant has it doesn't have flowers, but it's got seed pods on it. So we've had 2 pictures, but no flowers yet. So all right. Diane Colback. Diane is owner of the Pollywog Station Lavender Farm in Parker. It's a 17-acre farm in Parker. And I know that they're going to have some sort of a gathering in March. And I don't know whether you've gotten the details on that or not, but hopefully you'll get it out in the newsletter so people, if they want to go up there and see this farm and the things that they have going on up there.
Yeah, thanks, Kurt. I believe that Maggie had the most recent conversation with Diane, and I believe it's the end of May.
Okay.
Right, Maggie? But yes, we will make sure folks know about their event. Go ahead. Yes.
It's already calendared and it's on April. Oh no, that was a different one. Sorry. I will put it in the chat when I locate it.
Okay.
I think it's the end of May.
Okay. Anyway, so keep your eyes out for the Pollywog Station Lavender Farm in meeting announcements in Parker.
And actually that is May 17th. I found it and we calendared it to the Metro Denver chapter because Parker we think is technically in Metro Denver. What do you think, Kurt?
Pam.
Well, it may be technically there, but I think she's actually a member of the Southeast chapter. Diane
Yeah,
is.
we've been talking about it a lot, so we hope to cross-reference the event to both chapters.
Yeah, I think that would be good. Okay.
And Maggie, I'm sorry, Kurt, pardon the interruption, but Maggie, you may be recruiting some volunteers to help you table at that event.
Yes, absolutely. We are going to do that. And we convinced them, I think, of all their date choices to choose. We chose this because we have other events that on their other dates. But May 17th, they're going to have like a bunch of different organizations there and we'll bring the native plant flair and hopefully someday we'll also do what Virginia Phillips requested, which is that we come there and help them identify plants.
Okay. All right, so these are Diane's pictures of white clematis. And I know that when you see this, you It sometimes almost looks like a blanket of white feathery flowers when it's out in the field. Very nice showy milkweed. One of the flowers that we like to see. An American plum with looks like probably a bee or wasp there. This is from early May. Field pussy toes. This is from early June, early May also. I looked at this and I was trying to figure out what the difference between field pussy toes and small leaf pussy toes is, but I didn't want to spend a lot of time on this one. So it's hard to tell what the difference is, but might have to look at that sometime. And here's a very nice picture of showing milkweed, one of the seed pods that's opened up and about to release all of its seeds. And this was later in the year. Okay, Patty Freudenberg. Patty has, in October anyway, she had lots of butterfly milkweed seeds, if anyone is interested. And if anyone would like to get some, let me know and I can give you Patty's email address so you can send them to her or send a note to her to get some seed. She had sent in a picture of this really nice rosy paintbrush from Trail Ridge Road in Rocky Mountain National Park in June. Another high elevation alpine sandwort from Trail Ridge Road. Los Campion. These are probably up 11, 12,000 feet. She didn't give me the elevation, but just from the flowers. Another columbine. And then I think this is from her garden. This is the butterfly milkweed that she had growing in her garden. Plus, looks like she's got some penstemons and maybe some larkspur and a bunch of other things growing in there. Hey, Crystal Adams. She went to a number of different places. This is a white-stemmed evening primrose from Jimmy Camp Creek, which is out northeast of Colorado Springs on the way to Calhan, almost to Falcon. Rusty lupin or dwarf lupin, again from Jimmy Camp Creek. San Verbena, another one from Jimmy Camp Creek. And the environment there is different enough that some of the open spaces in Colorado Springs have, it has different things than a lot of the other open spaces in Colorado Springs. You wouldn't see the San Verbena in most of the places like the Red Rock Canyon or Blodgett Peak or some of these other that are on the west side of Colorado Springs. You will see a lot of hedgehog cactuses. And then this is an alpine forget-me-not. This is from Mount Sherman. And then this is I believe this is a Rocky Mountain sky pilot, the Polemonium convertum. This is a lighter purple, and the flowers are a different shape. And this particular convertum does not smell. So if you see sky pilot and you kneel down and you get it really stinks, then it's the viscosimum, which is the other species of sky pilot. And then a nice Indian blanket flower with a butterfly. This is from North Cheyenne Canyon. Okay. Okay, Marion Ceruzzi. Scarlet hedgehog cactus. She said this was from someplace in Manitou Springs. I don't know where it is, but I'd be interested to know because it's unusual to see the scarlet hedgehog around here, but it's probably in somebody's garden.
Yeah,
Marion is on the call, Kurt. I don't know if you want to ask
Yes.
her. Yeah.
yeah, this is Marion. Yeah, that was on one of my walks, heading towards Garden of the Gods. It was along somebody's garden.
Yeah.
They're just amazing, aren't they?
Indeed.
Yes. And almost as amazing as the Mariposa lilies. And this is again, from somewhere in Manitou Springs. It's interesting that the sepals are so long on this one. A golden crownbeard. If any of you remember the matching quiz, this is the one that I had listed as the non-native. And I don't know whether it's a mistake in the newer edition or whether Ackerfield changed her mind, but she removed the introduced label from Golden Crown Beard in the second edition. So this is also, I know Carrie likes to call this cowpen daisy. I didn't understand the name until I learned that this flower also stinks if you smell it later when it's flowering.
Yeah, in this one, I just want to say, the cowpen daisy, it's kind of bossy in the garden, and it sort of appears in places where it hasn't been before, which has been really interesting to watch. Like 2 years ago, the cowpen daisy was really intense everywhere, and I really haven't seen it in 2024. So
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Penstemon barbatus, the beard lip penstemon, a good flower for hummingbirds. And we have curly gunweed, this particular one that has an insect on it, but not the blister beetle. And this one is from Intamin Trail. Alderleaf mountain mahogany. It's gone to seed. Jack Solaire. Jack lives out just on the edge of the Corral Bluffs open space. Has a wonderful view of the whole area, and a lot of the plants that are on her property are much the same that what you see in Corral Bluffs. The Hooker's Townsend Daisy or the Easter Townsend Daisy. It's an early season Townsend Daisy. They're very low to the ground and have this pink cast to it. Indian paintbrush, so the whole Integra. Again, this one is from, I don't have the dates on these, but this is from the Corral Bluffs area. And then blue grandma. And Pat Cooper, who runs the Wildflower Wednesdays down in Cheyenne Mountain State Park, sent us in some pictures, some of them from the state park and some of them from other places. This is Drummond's milk vetch, one of the white milk vetches that you see in the early season. The leaves are very hairy on this particular plant. And last year there was a lot of this in the Cheyenne Mountain State Park. And Cheyenne Mountain State Park has very nice wild irises. And there's an apple tree down there. I don't think Pat was trying to figure out whether it was left over there from the ranch or how it got there, but there is some, I think there's at least one, if not two apple trees down there. And also a lot of wild plums, or some wild plums. And another gumweed, curly gumweed. And one of my favorite flowers, a blue gentian, and this is from Keystone, Colorado. And this is in August, late August. Okay. Right. And I figured I needed to contribute at least a few flowers. I didn't realize that till I had it put together the slideshow that all the pictures I picked for my own were blue flowers. So these are some blue violets. These are from Lost Lake up by Buena Vista. And for those of you who went to Lost Lake in the old days, it was a kind of a rough trail. They have gentrified the trail, and it starts at a new location, and it completely bypasses all of the old trail if you want to go up there again. So, but had lots of blue violets there. We have some pleated gentians. This is from one of my favorite places to go in late August. This was the 15th of August to see pleated gentians, blue gentians, rose gentians, star gentians. And these were some pleated gentians, and they're actually open partway.
But Kurt, you didn't say where.
Oh, it's a mystery. No, it's Catamount Ranch.
Oh, Catamount. Cool.
And we did a field trip there, not in 2023. And one of the things that I specified was that if you come on the field trip and you want to get to the good stuff, you've got to hike 4 miles at least, because it's 2 miles, a little over 2 miles out to the point where all these gentians are. And everybody who on the hike made it out there to look at the gentians and got back. So that was good. And it didn't rain on us. It was threatening all day. So, all right. This is one of the pictures that I like the most, I think, from 2024. In fact, it's on the January of my calendar that I have over my desk. And I call this just an alpine garden because you've got your what people used to call mountain dryad, which is now Hooker's mountain avens. You've got the mountain thistle. You've got the moss campion, and you've got alpine avens, all growing in this little area with this log and the rocks in the background. This is up at Elk Park on Pikes Peak. This was mid-June. And this is also from the same hike and same field trip. This is the Alpine Dwarf Columbine.
And I'll note that this is a rare plant, which we discovered that it's not rare when we go hiking in Southeast because we see it all the time, but it is rare across the state.
Yes. And I think I don't think it's endemic to Pikes Peak, but it's very limited to around Pikes Peak, I think.
So if you do take a photo of this on iNat, you should obscure the location.
Yes. And I went and did that on all my observations after I was chastised. So.
It was,
Okay.
I just want to tell people it was funny. We were talking about the field studies committee that observes rare plants. And when you interact with the field studies committee, when we update element occurrences, which are rare plants, that are more than 20 years old, we basically bring them back to life. They get back on management maps. And now that SB 241117 has given state Parks and Wildlife to regulate invertebrates and rare plants, our work through the field studies committee is becoming really important. But it was in a board meeting that Kurt realized that he had taken tons of pictures of this rare plant. So thanks to all who participate all across the state.
Okay, and this one is not rare. This is from the Intamin Trail, Red Rock Canyon Open Space. The past flower that always comes out in profusion early in the year. This is from the 28th of April, late April. So, and again, this is, you're seeing my favorite flowers as well as some of my favorite photos. So normally I would end with my photos, but I decided that the pictures that Carrie sent in were more appropriate for the end of the slideshow. So Carrie sent in some fireweed with a striped sweat bee on there. This was from Colorado Springs. And one of Carrie's favorite places to be is Monument Valley Park. This is, she called it threadleaf golden rays. I would have called it stiff green thread, Delosperma filifolium. A stemless four nerve daisy or old flower, depending on what you want. And again, this was a large-tailed aphid eater, thanks to iNaturalist. We have the subalpine fir from high elevation. This is Cottonwood Pass in Chaffee County. And then this is the last picture. This is why, Carrie, you got the last one in the slideshow. Aspen populus tremuloides. So.
Do you happen to know where that one's from? Or maybe Carrie can talk to that?
OB Joyful Trail near Crested Butte.
Nice.
The end.
Well, Kurt, that's just amazing. And I feel like this is maybe a Southeast chapter tradition that we should keep going, which means we need people to be thinking about photos all year long.
Well, the one thing I would tell you is that I sent out an announcement, I think in June or July, saying, take your pictures and keep track of them. And if you get anything early, send them to me. I got no response to that one. I sent out reminders in like August, September, and finally I sent one out the 1st of October, and I got all these pictures after the 1st of October, except for Dave Ruden's. So.
So how psychologically, how would you explain that, Kurt? Was it just that that's when we all have some indoor time to look through our galleries on our phones?
I think part of it is just, it's finally hit people that, oh, he's going to do this October 18th and it's October 1st. If I want my pictures in here, I have to get them in now. Whereas in August, everybody just said, okay, I'll get to it eventually.
Oh,
So,
okay. It's the deadline. Gotcha.
Maybe, I don't know. That was just kind of funny because I tried to get out the word early to get more pictures, and I got pretty much the same number of photos between 2023 and 2024. So is there anything that anybody would like to go back and look at a photo and ask a question or talk about?
Kurt, could I ask you to go back a few to that fly that you were saying was the aphid eater?
Say that again.
There was one that you were saying was the aphid eater. It was a fly off of Carrie's last stuff, is 3 or 4 pictures back. That's it right
Yeah,
there.
this one.
Yeah. So you said this was submitted to iNaturalist, and that's what they thought?
Isn't
Yeah.
that where you got the name, Carrie?
It is, and it was because I posted it not knowing anything. Excuse me. And there was a little bit of a debate on it, but there were like, I think it was like a good 3 solid IDs came in on. I was like, okay, I just let it go. I don't know I'm not an entomologist.
Thanks. I appreciate the background.
It's really striking, but it's pretty clear that it's a fly and not a bee, right?
Yeah, the fly, you can see the really short antennas, the stubby little antennas.
Right.
There's only
And only
single
two
wings.
wings. Yeah.
Yeah,
And
and
big,
then
big eyes.
if you look down, you can actually see the mouth part, I think, which would confuse me because typically these guys, so it looks more like a flower fly, like a syrphid fly of some sort, where they've got that kind of sopping up liquid sponge kind of a mouth part that they use.
I just thought the shape of the eyes was really cool.
Yeah, it's a great photo.
It's a really good picture.
That was
Hey.
just a total like luck opportunity. I was taking a picture, of course, of Old Man on the Mountain. And then it wasn't until I got home that I think I realized I had that.
Well, and
And
one thing that I did in 2024 was if I noticed later that there was an invertebrate in my picture, I like took a screenshot of just the invertebrate and I added another observation. And then if you label it as invertebrate, then other people will be keyed into identifying it. Because some people only identify certain types of things like bugs or frogs or whatever.
Yeah.
I think I did post a second observation with it when I saw it. So yeah.